A Catholic priest and director of a seminary in New York says he has an idea how best to address clergy sex abuse, and it's an overhaul of seminaries. Joining me now is Father Thomas Berg, Director of Admissions at St. Joseph's Seminary in Yonkers, New York. Father Berg, welcome to the program.
Great to be with you, Lauren.
You write that, quote, "Many of our institutions have too often failed miserably in preparing men for ministry, and many still fall far short of the goal of forming happy, healthy, holy priests." Why then do you think it has taken so long to have this conversation about reform?
It's no secret that seminaries have failed in the past, that we're trying to get this right, but I think we have to act more proactively and with the bishop's involvement to see which seminaries are starting to get things right, which are not, and can we not pool our efforts better, pool our personnel, and really start more adequately preparing these men and addressing the issues that are very particular to the millennial seminarian, because that's who we're talking about, with their own set of issues.
Right. You suggest a minimum age, perhaps of 22 for men to begin seminary formation. How do you think that's going to help?
The men who are coming to us, frankly, so many of the men who are coming to us actually are quite mature. But I think in general, we run into this difficulty where maybe a couple years into formation, guys are really unsure. There's an insecurity level there that I think if a person is a little bit older, maybe has a little bit more experience being out there in life, working in the world, engaging still in formation activities in the diocese, continuing his discernment process, living a celibate lifestyle, that can't hurt. That can only help in a
Pope Francis has expressed a willingness to consider ordaining married men of proven virtue to address pastoral needs in parts of the world where clergy is scarce. Yet, you advocate prolonging the formation process.
I do. I think time is our friend, and it's just the reality of so many, again, of the young men who are presenting themselves as candidates today. They simply need more time. It's no secret that millennials do kind of extend that period where they're trying to find themselves. That, in a certain extent, also applies to our seminarians these days. So how bishops confront that, the gaps in manpower, well, that's certainly a challenge, and I certainly acknowledge that. But I don't think rushing men to ordination, and again, I don't mean to imply that most bishops are rushing, but I've seen it happen. I've seen overconfidence in candidates who seem to look really good and really set after 4 years. But then we get into the first few years of ministry and we run into difficulties, we run into challenges. And so I think time is our friend in that sense.
But I think what people are worried about is that there must not be, or there may be, but maybe it's not enforced, a clear sexual harassment policy and corresponding protocols. Do you have one? Is that true, that they don't exist?
We certainly do at St. Joseph's Seminary. The vast majority of our seminaries are, if they haven't had them until recently, they're certainly being implemented. But that's something that, again, taking advantage of the moment, we have to make sure are in place.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. For writing this op-ed in the Washington Post, Father Thomas Berg, Director of Admissions at St. Joseph's Seminary in Yonkers, New York.
Thank you, Lauren.